According to the World Tourism and Travel Council, the global market for tourism rose by 4% last year in every major market except one, the US, where numbers fell by 5.5% last year. My next guest has been given the not so simple task by Donald Trump of attracting 100 million visitors to the US every year before 2030. No mean feat when the public face of America is not very popular in Europe and worldwide. His name is Nick Adams, and he is the US Special Presidential Envoy for Tourism. Good morning, Nick, and welcome to Dublin.
Good morning, Joe. It's great to be in Dublin. It's great to be with you. I'm looking forward to speaking to your listeners here this morning.
So when you arrived into Dublin Airport, did you have to supply 5 years of social media history? Did you have to hand over a $15,000 bond? Did you have to give details of your siblings and what they did?
No, but you don't have to do that in the United States of America either.
Well, you do have to fill in a lot of forms. And I remember when and I've been to America so many times, I love the place. I had to give details of my siblings. And okay, not for Europe, a $15,000 bond, but for non-European nations, a lot of them, they do have to do that, and the 5-year social media history.
Well, first of all, I can tell you that any 99.9% of people, Joe, that come to the United States of America as tourists, as travelers, are going to encounter an entirely seamless experience from the moment their plane touches down to the moment that they go back to the departure lounge to go home. So all of the perceptions that are out there that you're going to travel to the United States, that you're going to be detained, that your phone is going to be confiscated, that your social media is going to be poured over, that you're then going to be placed on a plane and returned to where you came from, all of that is just not true. No social media policy like that has ever been implemented. So
But
you
it
should
was,
not be worried
it
about
was floated, was discussed. 5-year social media history.
There are all kinds of things that are floated, Joe, but we need to deal with what's actually happening, what the reality is. And I'm here to tell you and all the great people of Ireland, who I love and who I'm wearing this very good-looking,
wonderful green blazer.
jacket for. I'm here to tell you we have a very special relationship. We love the Irish, people with Irish family, people with Irish blood in the United States, and Americans. And we absolutely would love every single person in Ireland to come and visit us. This summer is a great opportunity. It's the biggest one we've ever had, Joe. 250th birthday. And of course, I know it's a little bit of a sore point,
That
but we do have a small tournament that is going on as well.
Indeed, we do. Look, when they arrive, tourists will be surprised at how expensive the place is. And I've done some research on this. The two most visited, or among the two most visited cities in the United States, are New York and LA. And Dublin, which is the most expensive city in Europe, is 20 to 40% cheaper than those two cities to go out for a meal.
Well, I haven't seen your information, but I will take what you're telling me. This is what I'd have to say. Prices are going up everywhere. The cost of living is going up everywhere. As a person in my role, I would love for everything to be as affordable as conceivably possible, because that would mean that
The holiday costs less.
The most amount of people would come. But my other message would be to everybody that is listening, America is worth it. We are talking about 50 states that serve as 50 different countries, all unlocked with one single visa. And as someone that has been to the United States before, Joe, you will know personally, Americans are the most hospitable, the most welcoming, the most incredible people. We are the land of the free and the home of the brave, but we are also the land of helpful concierges, friendly waiters, and tour guides that have more charisma than a Hollywood star.
For which you pay. The tipping thing is nuts. It's absolutely crazy. I mean, you're an Aussie originally from Sydney. I've been to lovely Sydney as well. Aussies would never tolerate this idea that you pay 22 to 25% on top for your meal. And by the way, it's not really a choice thing.
Well, look, tipping is an integrated part of the American economy. There are lots of inherently American things about tipping. Number one, you have an incentive as a waiter or whatever role you're in to do the best possible job you can, because you're going to get a great tip. There's no limits. You are incentivizing hard work. And of course, a lot of people rely on tips to make ends meet. So,
Well, actually, on that, I was in Las Vegas 2 years ago with my wife. We were at the U2 concert, and I spoke to the waitress that we were dining at, and I said, "What is the minimum wage here in Nevada?" Because I'd heard stories that it was $3, $4, $5 an hour, or something crazy like that, and she said, "No, it's $15." And I said, "You get paid $15?" And she said, "No, no, I get paid 20 to $25." And I said, "Why are we paying you on top of that 22% tip?"
Well, Joe, look, tipping's been around for a long time in the United States. I don't think it's going to go away anytime soon, but that is part of the culture, that is part of the economy. That shouldn't be a deterrent for people that want to come to the United States. It's been there
What about
forever, and it has never been a problem for people previously.
Okay, my point and now is you said yourself the prices are going up. America is pricey now. If you load on the tip and then you add in all the extra stuff like city tax, state tax, resort fee, all these extra little charges, what you see initially is not what you end up paying. My point is if you're with a family of four and let's say you're not that wealthy, it can become pricey.
Look, like I say, there's no doubt. I mean, I would love for things to be as affordable as possible, but there are realities that are beyond our control. And I'm here to tell you that America is worth it. There are still ways that you can have a great family trip. There are wonderful breakfasts that are free that you can load up on. There are all kinds of great. There's special meals. We have special options for virtually every single theme park, every kind of major attraction. We give lots of different choices, day passes, week passes, all that kind of stuff. So, look, rather than focus on all the bad things, Joe, I think we should, which I don't really think there are many, if any, what we really should be focused on is explaining to everybody that this is a country, a destination unlike any other. It's why we are the number one tourism industry in the world, the number one tourism sector in the world. And if we were if all the things that you're saying were so big, we wouldn't be.
And we are live with Nick Adams, the U.S. Special Presidential Envoy for Tourism, who's sitting in front of me. And thank you very much for doing this live interview. A lot of your colleagues wouldn't have done so. How did you end up in the orbit of Donald Trump as an Australian?
Well, Joe, I have been by the president's side from the very beginning, the 16th of June 2015, when he rode down the escalator. The first time, the way that we got to know each other was he saw me on television and was very impressed with what he saw. And we got connected that way. And then, of course, as he got elected, I would keep being on television. He'd keep seeing me. Then he appointed me to the board of the Wilson Center, which is part of the Smithsonian, over in Washington during his first term. And we've kind of been together ever since.
He's given you a decent task, i.e. to get 100 million visitors into the United States by 2030.
Well, let me clarify. That's my personal goal.
Oh, that's your personal goal.
That's my
right.
personal goal.
Okay.
Yes.
Is it easy to sell America when the public face of America is Donald Trump, who's not that popular outside the US?
Yes. I mean, Donald Trump is the best advertisement for the United States of America and tourism.
Would you not say, but the
I'll
tourist
tell you
numbers...
why. I mean, well, first of all, the tourist numbers have been declining since 2019.
Not worldwide, though.
So 9.1%. Well, let me explain to you what's happened in America. 9.1% of the American economy was tourism in 2019. And last year it was 8.6%. But it took 6 years for that 0.5% drop. So we had COVID and then we had Joe Biden. And that's really when the numbers started to decline.
Well, I'm sure it's not Joe Biden's fault. It's also the rise of tech.
You're correct. There was a dip last year, but you've also got to remember, Joe, that a lot of people were thinking to themselves, 2026 is America's big year. Do I just wait a little while and travel when there's the 250 and there's the FIFA World Cup, or do I go this year? So I think there was a little bit of that. But the good news is everything's rebounding. The latest data that's come across my desk shows an uptick, shows a rebound, 3% increase in flights, 1 million more seats, increased visitor spend, a 2.1% projected increased tourism contribution to the American GDP, 12% more American jobs.
So more American jobs in tourism.
Yes.
Now, you're in Europe. the so-called old continent. How do you think Europeans will respond when it comes to tourism if they're described as being in civilizational decline, which is a report was issued at the end of last year by the Trump administration about this continent? Civilizational decline. It's not exactly saying, well, do you know what? I need to book a flight to the States straight away.
Well, Joe, look, tourism and travel is about fun. It's about visiting relatives. It's about exploring. It's about discovering. If you're making your travel and tourism decisions based on, it hasn't occurred to me who the leader of Ireland is right now. I've been to
Micheál Martin.
I've been to London under 5 different prime ministers.
Mhm.
I've never once thought, who's the prime minister and what do they think of the place I'm coming from?
Mm.
That's not the right way to approach travel and tourism.
They don't tweet every day, maybe 20 to 40 times a day. So my point is, because he's so public facing and because he shares his inner thoughts publicly so much, are you not worried that that is a turn off?
No, because Donald Trump's name is synonymous with travel and tourism. No one has done more for it than the president. The American travel industry, Joe, has been begging successive administrations, successive presidents to create my role. He's the first person to have done it. And before he was running the country, he was building hotels, building resorts. He's been a great leader for America, a great leader for the world.
But you do accept he's not popular in Europe.
Well, I accept that whether or not you like or don't like Donald Trump, the United States of America is the loudest, largest, and most exciting destination on earth.
Mm-hmm.
And you should come and have a look. And you shouldn't be thinking about politics when you're making a decision to go and travel and tour and try out Texas barbecue. Or
But would you go to Iran? And the answer is no. Would you go to Iraq? The answer is probably no. Would you go to the poorest African nations? Because you have a perception of those countries.
Joe, I just think you're totally off with all of this. I really do.
You genuinely think that no one takes that into account?
I'm telling you that people have been traveling to America in good times, in bad times, forever.
Mm-hmm.
And across lots of different presidents, lots of different administrations, lots of different financial contexts, America's the number one place. We're going to make sure we keep it that way.
Best of luck with it, Nick. And I really do appreciate you coming in and doing it face-to-face with us this morning. That's Nick
Thank
Adams,
you.
the special appointee for the Trump administration to promote tourism to the U.S.